Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide today. We're diving into some incredibly profound insights from a wonderful ebook created by the professionals at Onjob Training Academy. It's called Why and How Education is One of the Best Gifts to Daughters. Today, we're really zooming in on one absolutely critical lesson: education and equality. Specifically, we'll look at how education actively challenges and dismantles gender discrimination. It's a genuine privilege to unpack this framework with all of you today. Let's get started. Okay, let's dive right into this with a solemn truth. For centuries, across so many parts of the world, society essentially boxed girls into household responsibilities. Their big dreams, their immense talents, just completely sidelined. But here's the thing we have to acknowledge. Laws on a piece of paper, they don't magically change a society. True transformation, it has to germinate right here, in our collective mindset. If our minds are still chained to outdated traditions, well, the law is practically meaningless, isn't it? So this brings us to the core question of our explainer today. How exactly does education help challenge gender discrimination? The answer is both profound and incredibly practical. Education is literally the master key. It's the key that unlocks and removes those invisible yet highly rigid barriers holding our girls back. It equips our daughters with the knowledge, that deep-seated inner confidence, and the fierce ability to stand shoulder to shoulder, completely equal with men in absolutely any arena they choose. Now, to solve any problem, we first need to define it clearly, right? Gender discrimination simply means treating girls and boys differently for no other reason than their gender. It is a fundamental societal flaw. It quite literally chokes a girl's basic human growth. And think about the larger picture. When a society operates under these biases, it is effectively depriving itself of the intellectual and economic brilliance of half its population. It's a massive loss. And this brilliantly illustrates the tragic, real-world manifestations of this bias that we see every single day. We're talking about deeply harmful practices that we absolutely must eradicate. Things like families sending their sons to premier, expensive schools while the daughters get enrolled in cheaper alternatives. Or the heartbreaking practice of just stopping a daughter's education after the 10th or 12th standard. Then there's this baseless belief that girls just can't excel as engineers, pilots, or corporate leaders. And of course, the deeply concerning issue of forcing young girls into early marriage. These actions put a massive ceiling on a girl's potential. Education is the most powerful tool we have to shatter those harmful beliefs. Now look at this comparison. Let's observe how education intrinsically shifts the mindset. An uneducated girl, constantly weighed down by restrictive societal norms, might actually start to internalize the belief, I cannot do big things. She might think she's somehow weak or inferior. But contrast that with an educated girl. Her mindset does a complete 180. It transforms to, I can achieve absolutely anything through hard work. When a girl gets a formal education, she looks in the mirror and sees someone who is capable, highly intelligent, and entirely deserving of every single opportunity out there. Of course, this internal shift doesn't just happen overnight. It's a very structured mental transformation, and it is the absolute imperative first step toward lasting equality. First up, education builds immense self-respect. A girl learns her own intrinsic worth. Second, it cultivates this unshakable self-confidence. She starts to really trust her own capabilities. And finally, it develops independent thinking. Instead of just blindly accepting what society dictates, she learns to analyze, to question, and to form her own strong perspectives. So the crucial point here is the true power of this mental shift. An educated daughter simply does not remain silent. Education gives her the courage to speak up with clarity and with authority. She's not afraid to ask the tough questions, to share her innovative ideas, and to make highly informed decisions about her own life and career. But you know what's most important? She refuses to be a silent spectator when faced with injustice. She courageously advocates for herself and for others around her, building a culture of true equality. Furthermore, education flings open these magnificent doors to diverse professional fields. The options are literally limitless. We're talking doctors, engineers, brilliant scientists, dynamic entrepreneurs, and influential government officers. But here is the kicker. Alongside those career skills, education teaches girls their fundamental legal rights: the right to education, to work, the right to safety, and vital legal protections. This knowledge actively shields them from exploitation. An educated girl, you simply cannot easily mislead or control her. And her financial independence just completely cements her equal standing in society. To truly grasp this impact, we just have to look at some real-life inspirations. Let's talk about the phenomenal Kalpana Chawla. Born into a middle-class family in the small town of Karnal, Haryana, she grew up at a time when a girl pursuing aerospace engineering was practically unheard of. But Kalpana? She was determined. Through the sheer power of education, she broke through massive gender barriers, eventually becoming an astronaut at NASA, the very first Indian-born woman in space. She proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that educated daughters can achieve truly astronomical success. Let's move to and see how this builds, especially when we examine the life of another visionary, the incredibly inspiring Sudha Murthy. Raised in a very simple middle-class family, she pursued engineering when it was a totally male-dominated space. In fact, she became the first female engineer at Tata Engineering. But you know, her education didn't just elevate her, it empowered her to give back in a massive way. She blossomed into a celebrated author, a dedicated social worker, and the chairperson of the Infosys Foundation. Her life is such a profound testament that an empowered daughter doesn't just uplift herself, she uplifts the entire society. And, you know, we see this mirrored in everyday life across our nation, all the time. Let's consider a highly relatable, practical example. Meet Neha, a bright girl from a small town. Now, we all know those well-meaning but highly traditional relatives, right? The ones asking her parents, why educate a girl so much? She's just gonna get married anyway. But her parents held firm. They supported her. Neha studied diligently, and today, she serves as a highly successful bank officer. She financially supports her family, and guess what? Those very same relatives now look at her with immense respect. Education instantly and permanently changed society's attitude toward her. Neha's success story brings us to a really pivotal juncture in our explainer video. What exactly is the crucial role of parents in promoting this equality? We really need to shift our focus directly to the parents now, because, let's face it, they are the very first educators. They are the ultimate facilitators. Establishing this equality at home is their fundamental duty, and the choices they make today dictate the entire future trajectory of their daughters' lives. So, for all the parents tuning in, here is a highly actionable, clear roadmap. Number 1, you must proactively provide equal educational opportunities. Number 2, constantly encourage your daughters to dream big. Please do not put a ceiling on their aspirations. Number 3, actively and financially support their pursuit of higher education, exactly as you would for a son. And number 4, entirely avoid any form of discrimination between your son and daughter at home. Parents absolutely must internalize this belief: my daughter is equally capable. That single belief, that is exactly what creates competent, unstoppable daughters. And when parents step up and fulfill this duty, the impact on the family unit is just tremendous. Educated daughters create incredibly balanced families. They actively contribute to the financial stability of the household. They thoughtfully participate in critical decision-making. They manage the education and well-being of their own children with supreme efficiency. Essentially, they become truly equal partners in family growth, which in turn profoundly strengthens both the family framework and the society at large. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the magnificent ripple effect this creates. You see, there is a massive difference between merely educating one girl and transforming an entire generation. When you educate a daughter, you are literally educating a future mother. And an educated mother will inherently educate her children equally, meticulously promoting that same equality in the next generation. This is exactly how we achieve long-term sustainable social transformation. Educating just one girl positively impacts generations to come. It's a true multiplier effect. To synthesize our comprehensive discussion today, an uneducated girl might, unfortunately, remain dependent on others for her mere survival. But education completely removes that fear and replaces it with formidable strength. An educated girl becomes fiercely independent. She earns, she decides, she leads. Education does not simply teach academic subjects from a textbook. It fundamentally teaches daughters their true, immeasurable worth. And when daughters finally know their worth, equality ceases to be just a nice dream. It becomes a living, breathing reality. If you wish to dive deeper into these transformative principles and truly empower the daughters in your life, I highly, highly encourage you to read the complete ebook created by the professionals at Onjob Training Academy. It's titled Why and How Education is One of the Best Gifts to Daughters, a complete guide to parents and daughters. Go ahead and scan the QR code right there on your screen to grab the ebook and start reading immediately. You get lifetime access with just a one-time payment. You can also check the description below for the direct purchase link. Equip yourself with this crucial knowledge. So I leave you with this final provocative thought. If education is the master key, what doors will you unlock for your daughter today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.